So today I want to talk about Trump's military parade.
Celebrate our military. We have the greatest military in the world.
What's the price tag? Do you know?
That's right. Donald Trump wants a military parade on his birthday. A parade that has military aircraft flying above, that has tanks roaring down the streets of Washington, D.C., all while Donald Trump sits in a grandstand approving of the military that goes before him. This is something Donald Trump wanted in the first Trump administration, but the District of Columbia said tanks, but no tanks, because this vanity parade for Donald Trump was going to cost the city tens of millions of dollars in street repairs after those heavy vehicles go along Washington roads. But this time, Donald Trump is insistent. Now, the Trump people are claiming this parade is not about him, that it's in honor of the 250th anniversary of the country, one of the anniversary celebrations, and it just happens to be on his birthday, just like he wanted in the first term. Well, if you believe that, I've got a used tank I'd like to sell you. But here's the thing, the cost of this is going to be in the tens of millions of dollars for you, the taxpayer. That's what it's going to cost to bring all of those tanks and all of those aircraft, and to bring all those troops, thousands of troops, to march down the streets in front of Donald Trump. Now, the troops aren't going to get much out of it. They've been told, bring your sleeping bags. You're going to be eating MREs. They're going to be eating military rations. They'll be paid about $50 a day for their trouble. But hey, nothing's too much trouble for a parade for Donald Trump. They're going to be sleeping in government buildings during the course of this. The last time we saw U.S. Armed Forces sleeping in government buildings in the District of Columbia, it looked a lot like this. That's right, it was after January 6th. But while Donald Trump is going to bring all these troops to Washington and force them to sleep on the ground in government buildings and eat military rations as a part of his vanity project, while he is prepared to do that, what else is the Trump administration doing when it comes to our military and our veterans? Well, they are slashing the Veterans Administration. They are cutting 80,000 jobs from the VA. 80,000 people, many of whom are veterans, all of whom are serving veterans. That's right, Donald Trump has the money for a military parade on his birthday, a parade to celebrate Donald Trump, but doesn't have enough money to provide health care for veterans. The Doge people think the VA is just nothing but waste and inefficiency. But a parade, the Doge people are just fine with that, so long as it's on Donald Trump's birthday. So in addition to taxpayers funding this whole thing, they are also soliciting donations. And if your donation is big enough, well, then you get a front row seat. So they're also selling access to this birthday parade for Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump is not alone among world leaders in wanting a parade. In fact, I think he derives inspiration from other leaders he emulates. Here's a parade in North Korea. This one is overseen by Kim Jong-il, the current Korean dictator's father. And of course, Vladimir Putin loves a parade. Here's Vladimir Putin watching his troops as they parade through Moscow. And of course, it wasn't just Putin. Soviet leaders going back decades have loved a military parade. Here's Khrushchev. Here's Andropov. And there are scores of others. In China, President Xi also likes a military parade. Here's President Xi. So why do all of these would-be dictators love a military parade? Well, they love a military parade because it sends a message to the country. It sends a message really to the rest of the world, but particularly it sends a message to the country, their own country, that they are in charge of the military, that this is their military might to use as they would, externally or internally. And this is part of the appeal for Donald Trump. But in the United States of America, the military answers to civilian authority and the Constitution. It is not in service of one man's personal vanity. And to use the military in this manner, when Donald Trump is slashing veterans' benefits, to aggrandize himself, to communicate to the country his control over the military, is just another shameful act of this administration.